Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of This Is My Bourbon Podcast. I'm your host, Perry. With me this week is the co-host, Mr. Eric Smith.
Hooday!
Oh, the Bengals are going to the Super Bowl.
The Bengals, boys! All my Cincinnati friends, congratulations.
What a weird feeling it is to know that the Bengals are going to the Super Bowl.
You know, I just recently found out it's Bengals. I was saying Bengals the whole time.
Is it actually pronounced Bengals?
Yes, when I was in Ohio, Ian and then our friends Bobby and Sam corrected me, and they were like, the Bengals. I was like, really? Or I thought they were making fun of me for a second. I was like, for real? They're like, yeah, it's the Bengals. It's like, I've always said the Bengals.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
I don't know what I have said. It's one of those words where, like, I know that I've said it enough in my life that it's probably changed about 18 times. So...
just say "hooday" and then it'll be fine. You don't have to worry about saying
it's like doing the Cats cheer.
Yes.
Like,
I have to just say, see the jersey, know they're Bengals fans, and just say "hooday," and you're part of the family.
I will say, though, I hate that it's pronounced Bengals because it makes me think that it's spelled like Bengals, like the bracelet.
Like bagels?
Like bagels. Or Bengals like the band.
True.
From the 80s. But
Either way.
Regardless, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you guys showing back up if you are returning, of course. And if you're new, thanks for being here. Subscribe
Welcome.
to the show, leave a review, share with your friends, all that good stuff. And you can support the show at patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast for as little as $1 a month. You get bonus content. And this week, we are going to be doing Sips and Snacks, correct?
Yes.
So what are we pairing this week?
I brought a snack, and my favorite thing so far about Sips and Snacks is when I bring a snack and I get to test your pairing skills and be like, have I taught Perry how to pair yet? Because you nailed it the last time we did it this way. You did the Logic Craig Barrel Proof with
right.
that Hostess.
Yeah.
So I brought another Hostess snack.
Oh, snap.
A little mini bunt cake. But it's not just one that might go with anything. It's the lemon one.
Ooh.
It's so good. But you have to figure out what to pair with it. So I'll let you open that and smell it. I got 2 of them, so you can keep that one. Dude, these things are so good, though. Hostess, I said they got the cupcake game down on lock, but man, their little bunt cakes, they're legit too. And these are the lemon ones, so let's see what you got.
I think I know.
Here, I'm going to not look, and you can blind it.
Okay.
Ooh, this smells really good. This is a good pour-over cake, too. Is that a rye?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good, though, because I was like, man, I bet this will go good with the rye. Oh.
I've got a potential alternative if this one doesn't work out.
Well, the thing is, like, I had a bite of the cake already, and then it kind of settled, and then I had a drink of the rye, and it really mixes good. Like, not even, like, together. Like, just the aftertaste of each. I like that.
I don't hate it.
It actually it brings out a little more of the lemon in it.
Yeah. It gives it a little bit of, like, a spice, too.
Oh, I like that. I'm going to do a pour over. It doesn't seem too high proof.
It's not.
100?
Almost exactly on the money, dude. 100.9.
Oh, man. Did you do a pour over?
Not yet.
Oh my God. That's really good.
I did it.
You won.
I don't know why this was the one that, like, came to me immediately. But there was something about the smell of it that reminded me of, like, the fermenters at this distillery. And just, like, smelling the grains and everything. So I went with Wilderness Trail Rye.
Of course you did. Best rye. One of the best ryes on the market right now.
This is from, like, the very first release
Dude,
of Wilderness Trail Rye.
Pour it over and let that soak for, like, a couple seconds before you take a bite.
And this is a single barrel as well. I didn't realize that their rye mash was so low. Rye, 56%.
Dude, you did it. You see, So I finally got. Yeah, tell me how that pour over is.
That's delightful.
When that rye just explodes out of the cake.
That's quite good.
So I got all the Girl Scout cookies. And I'm making my pairings, getting my pairings. And I was wanting to do a rye with the lemon one.
Yeah.
So that is definitely going to go in the mix, and I'm going to test it out against the other ryes with Wilderness Straw.
My alternative to it was the Knob Creek cast strength rye.
strength.
But I think this is right.
I think
right where it needs to be.
I think the proof on that one is what did it. Like,
Yeah.
the cast strength may have been too much, and you may have got too much of the rye, and not enough of the vanilla lemon in there. Oh wow, dude, that's really good.
Yes,
Congratulations, you win.
thank
You're
you.
a mutant.
I'm 2 for 2.
Perry
And the fact that
mutant.
I was able to do them both like on the first go.
I'm going to get my buddy Cal to make a logo of a mutant bear, and it's going to be the Pear Bear.
There we go. The P-A-I-R bear.
Yeah, that's going to be
That's awesome.
the Whiskey Mutant's sidekick.
There we go.
Well, not sidekick, you know what I mean.
I don't care. Yeah, that was good. I'm really happy that worked out so well.
When I'm telling you, when that exploded after the pour over set for a little bit, money.
There you go. What have you been drinking recently?
What have I been drinking recently? Well, actually, what have we been drinking recently? Because we got to try a bunch of Nulu stuff,
We did.
and I settled the score. I drew a line in the sand, and I said, Chad of My Daily Bourbon, I will work with you on picking some Nulu barrels. And we looked at each other, and I said,
They shook hands, but they spit in their palms first.
we said, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. And then we picked some barrels together. And, dude, like, I guess we can say this.
There's no reason we can't. We picked 2 double oaked Nulus in a maple barrel. And that maple barrel is something special.
Yes.
That was probably one of the best finished products I've ever had.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not a big Finnish person,
Yeah.
and that one was amazing.
And we wound up, so the 2 double oaks, we were split kind of on
Right.
the ones that we went with. And you liked 2.
I liked
better
2.
than you liked 2 out of all of them.
There was this. Number 2 was this sherbet. It was this sherbet
Yeah.
flavor that just hit you, and I could not get over how good that sherbet was. And you liked
I liked 3.
3, which was like this high proof, like Hawaiian punch.
Yeah. It was still like really dark and oaky too, but there was this like bright burst of fruit flavor as well. And so those are going to be available at Total Wine in Lexington very, very soon. And we can talk about this too.
Yeah.
If you are interested in purchasing one and you're not nearby, please let us know. Because we have it worked out with Total Wine that we can basically ship those to you.
Yeah.
Not from Total Wine.
We
can't
could
that,
do
but-
like a sign up, and you hand us the money, and we go pick them up for
Yeah.
you, basically, and then we'll ship them out.
And we don't the store cannot label them with stickers. But we have stickers for all 3 of the barrels.
Yeah, we'll send them out with that. Or if you're in town and you get it, just message us and show us which bottle you got, and we've got a sticker for all 3 bottles coming in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome. We got to try a lot of different things. I may have gotten in trouble for the first time at a distillery, not because I was wild, but because I handed my glass back. And I wanted to try one more thing.
Yeah, let's talk about this here.
Is this?
Yeah, okay, so a little behind the scenes. We both were feeling real good after the pick. And we thought, wouldn't it be funny if we went and we recorded like we were doing a review of something stupid, and then like it's unlistenable content.
We tried to review the Surf and Turf from McDonald's,
which destroyed my insides.
It's honestly a fillet of fish and like a double cheeseburger, and they hand them to you separately and just say, make your own.
You make it yourself.
You gotta make your own
thing.
surf and turf.
That's the stupidest thing.
It's so bad. And they don't even go together good. It's almost like you're eating two sandwiches in your mouth at the same time.
And like, there's all of a sudden this new like hack menu or whatever, like hidden tricks at McDonald's. Like one of them's just putting chicken nuggets on a burger.
And they make you do it yourself.
And they make you do it yourself. And they call it like the crunchy surprise or something dumb like that.
I could have done that McDonald's, a long time ago.
Come on. What is this vendetta that we've had with like fast food places recently, though?
I want you to make my food. I don't want to do it myself.
I mean, I am literally paying for somebody to make my food for me.
Yeah. And that's just how
I'm not trying to be a dick about it either.
No.
But like, why?
It's like
I don't want interactivity with fast food. I want to eat the food.
What next? They're just going to hand you everything separate and say, here's your Big Mac, and you got to put it together?
This is actually their way of finding ways to like hire people.
Yeah.
They give you a little they give you like a George Foreman grill.
But yeah, that was something.
Yeah, but you tried to pour a little bit.
Yeah,
and it so there was this bottle that was sitting back behind all the stuff, and it was about half full, and it was really dark. It was a really dark colored whiskey, and I was like, what on earth is that? So Eric went and got it, and it was the Bourbon Junkies' new Nulu rye pick.
Yeah, and
we asked Chase, who is he's just kind of the owner operator.
I think he's the main guy.
Yeah. But at Nulu, and we asked, can we open this? But initially, actually, Eric asked if he could take it home with him. And I got to be honest with you, I don't know if he was kidding or not when he responded to your question. Because the way that you phrased it was it was rude, but it was playful.
Yeah, we'd been joking around the whole time.
Yeah, and like essentially what you asked was, is it okay if I take this bottle home with me? And the way that Chase interpreted it was, so you are asking permission to steal from me.
And the way he said it like that, I was like, no.
And then you backpedaled and you're like, well, can I open it? He was like, yes, you can open it.
I was like, sweet. So we got to try it, and I was...
and then...
I had just a little bit of it, because I was like, I've had a lot. I'm going to back
We had a lot.
We're going to back off. I just had a little bit of it, so I kind of had just a little taste. It was great, and then we were getting ready to leave, and I was like, man, that is really good. I would love to have, like, basically the rest of the pour I would have normally had, like everything else. And I asked Chase, I was like, do you have any sample bottles? And he's like, no, we don't have any down here. And I was like, oh, don't worry. I don't want to make him go find any or whatever. So I was sitting there. I was like, I got my water bottle.
Which, again, this is not an uncommon thing to do. No.
I was like, I'll just take a little sample in my water bottle and then save it for later and have, maybe pair it or something like that.
And let me, before we get to this part of the story, I want to preface something. This is not to put this person on blast.
No.
This is to... kind of make fun of you for the situation, because it made you feel like lesser of a man.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. I have
can
not
see
felt
the
that
life.
way.
I could see the life. But here's the thing: when all of this went down, the only reaction I had was just to walk away.
Yeah, I basically got left by myself.
Well, I didn't know what to do.
So anyway,
I didn't have my wherewithal to be like,
I grabbed my water
bottle,
my little plastic water bottle. I was not trying to hide anything, and I was like, I'm just going to put about an ounce in my water bottle, and I'll put it in a sample bottle when I get home, and I'm going to save it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have a big pour of it. They basically opened the whole place to us. Like, they were pouring stuff out and like letting us try stuff here. It was very hospitable. I loved it. I was having a great time, and I thought, oh, they're not going to care if I do that. And a guy over here that I didn't really talk to that much looked at me, and he was like, really? Bro? Really?
Really, dude?
You're putting a sample in a water bottle? I was like, man, I really like that. I didn't have a lot of it. I was just, I didn't have a glass, and you should probably put that back. I was like,
huh?
Really? He's like, yeah. So I poured my water bottle back out, and I felt horrible.
Yeah, you did.
and I was left by myself
I'm really sorry.
in the situation.
I'm really, really sorry that was my reaction, was just to kind of
but
meander away.
But as we said, that's probably one of the funniest memories. So far, I'm 2 for 2 on 10-bit pick situations to have memories from. So there we go. I'll keep the tradition up. Something will happen on the next one, and it'll be funny or embarrassing, and we'll find out. But all in all, Nulu was awesome.
It was great.
I cannot believe we got to try so much stuff, and I'm so happy for you guys to hopefully get some of these bottles when they get here.
I also have a new video out on YouTube. Finally, after months of it sitting in my on the back burner, and I was so mad at myself because I got it finished Tuesday night, after I got done, or maybe it was Wednesday. It was Wednesday because I had some work to do, and I just pulled it up and I was like, oh, I wonder how much, because I knew I was getting towards the end. And I wanted to just knock it out real quickly. I literally had 2 minutes left in the video that I had to go through. So it took me a total of maybe 5 or 6 minutes to get it all finished and exported. But I put that off for way too long. But anyway, there's a new video up. If you've not seen it yet, it just premiered as of recording. And I compare, speaking of Wilderness Trail, the 2 6-year bottled and bonds,
nice.
The weeded bourbon and the rye bourbon.
High rye bourbon.
It was a weird comparison though, because I came away from it not having a preference over the two. I like them both for different reasons, but there's one didn't just jump out at me as being something that I needed to have. But
I need to get working on some YouTube stuff.
You said you had a video that you needed me to.
Well, I've got it ready, but what? I got to figure out my camera, because when we were going live the other day when I was with you, the camera I originally thought I was going to use was all delayed and stuff. So I got to work that out.
Well, I don't think that it's going to look like.
Will it not look like that when I actually record it?
I don't know.
Maybe we'll see. Test it out.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you can always record it right on the camera.
Yeah, but it's going to be pairing 101.
Nice.
Where
awesome.
I talk about pairing, but I'm going to pair 101.
There you go.
So
it's a double meaning.
There you go.
It's kind of a pun.
I gotcha.
But yeah, so you don't have 100 subscribers yet, but it's just go search for Whiskey Mutant on YouTube.
Yeah, I've got my TikToks and Reels on there. Some of them are copyright restricted because it's got music on it, but I didn't care.
Whatever. And our podcast channel is youtube.com/This Is My Bourbon Podcast. For anybody who doesn't know, I go live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. as well, just to do an extra little thing during the week. But I'm hopefully getting back to a more regular schedule of videos. I had been saying every 2 weeks, so I'm going to stick back to that. And I think the next one that I want to do, because I had 2 reviews that I filmed in the same day. And the second one is Virgin Bourbon, which has my greatest intro of all time. Hands down, my best intro for anything I've created. I'm building it up way too much, but I
like a virgin.
but
hey, uncorked for the very first time.
It's a screw top, but same difference.
Unscrewed for the very first time.
Anyway, but I'd like to do another video of why blank is the best value in bourbon.
101?
No.
Oh.
I'm going to circle back around to a turkey product, because the first one I did was, it's definitely going to be Bland's. The first one I did was Rare Breed, and I don't want to do another turkey product.
Russell's Reserve.
Eventually. But right now, I've got one that's
101.
Kentucky. Can I finish this sentence, please? But I think it's a Kentucky only release, but it's still it's probably the best value, hands down, I think. So I don't want to spoil anything.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, I know what it is.
Let's talk about this, because this has been in the back of my mind for a little while. And it's something that I felt like we not needed to necessarily, but I at least wanted to talk about it, because bourbon as it stands today is nothing without the heritage of its history in general and the people that built it. And I feel like right now, heritage brands are dying out, or at least there's not as much emphasis put on them.
So
Like they don't feel as important or crucial to bourbon right now, if that makes sense.
So for people not like me, simply give me your quick version of a heritage brand.
So any brand that at least has history in
Like
terms
just
of
the classic brand.
yeah, exactly. Your JW Dance, Wild Turkey can be considered a heritage brand. Blanton's, Elmer T. Lee,
Gotcha.
stuff like
Okay.
that. I mean, like products that have a particular like
a history.
history.
Yeah,
a
that
history
name,
to
that
them.
history.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
So products like Wilderness Trail, New Riff are not considered heritage
Right.
brands because they're newer distilleries. But just in terms of like parsing down what some of the brands are, and this is just kind of according to like the Kentucky Distillers Association, the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. So the KDA, this is coming right from the Bourbon Trail website. The KDA now has 14 heritage members, including Bardstown Bourbon Company, which I think is weird. Beam Suntory, which includes Jim Beam and Maker's Mark. Brown Forman, Diageo North America. I don't know why I'm counting on my hands. Four Roses, Green River Distilling, Heaven Hill, Louisville Distilling Company, Lux Row, Michter's, and Wild Turkey. So I think some of those were kind of like, in terms of like what I'm talking about, are not necessarily in line with what people are calling like heritage members of the distillery trail or the bourbon trail. But like, think about products that like got sold to Heaven Hill or brands that got sold to Heaven Hill. Fitzgerald, again, Dant, T.W. Samuels. Those products were not originally,
Part of their
yeah.
Okay.
But like the thing that kind of tipped me off to all of this, there were a couple of events. The first one was Dixon leaving Kentucky Owl. And I think that this is the part that like got me going, well, how are they ever going to survive without the guy that actually, started it back up?
Especially after we tasted that Wiseman. I mean,
Yeah, and the thing is, like I said last week, that Batch 11 is still good bourbon. It's just not. You can tell that it's missing Dixon's thumbprint.
Yeah.
But like they got a St. Patrick's Day
Oh my god.
exclusive coming out. Like that's
Something blended by like somebody who does like Irish whiskey or something like that.
but like that's nothing that Dixon would ever do.
No.
And you can tell that there was like this disconnect between him and Camp. Was it Campari? It's not Campari. It's Stoli.
Stoli.
Yeah. In terms of like where they wanted the brand to go. And so like that's to me a clear sign that like the heritage of bourbon is falling by the wayside when people are more focused on making money.
Yeah.
Right? Another example of this was JW Dant.
Oh, yeah.
So Log Still is a fairly new distillery, and they are owned by the Dant family, like Dant's descendants. And they wanted to include his name on one of their products. They weren't even calling it like JW Dant Bourbon. They just had JW Dant like listed on the label. And I think he was in some of their signage at the distillery and everything too.
So they weren't allowed to do that.
Heaven
That's
Hill sued them.
Oh my god.
They weren't just not allowed to do it. Heaven Hill made them legally.
That's the WWE of bourbon right now.
It feels that way though, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it feels
owning a name. Yeah.
yeah. And I don't know, like that just feels so skeevy to me. Like it doesn't feel like the bourbon world that we kind of know and love.
Right, because we get so used to hearing, "Oh, we're all in this together." Like, let's, Kentucky bourbon. This we're not competing against each other. We're elevating bourbon to America's spirit. But then you hear something like that, and it's like, I thought you guys were good guys.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Come on, now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels so uncomfortable. Like you'd think that they would at least because, I mean, Heaven Hill is family owned.
Yeah.
They've been family owned since they were founded. So surely they have some kind of like, introspection.
Right.
Where they can realize that what they're doing is not okay.
And the thing is, it's not
self-awareness. Have some.
It's not like you're trying to take the name Elijah Craig. Like, this is a $14 screw top
budget bottled and bond bourbon,
and you're suing the actual family over the name. I don't like that. I don't like that.
I don't either.
Makes me feel bad.
Just another one that kind of popped out to me was Hirsch. Like Hirsch, at 16 years used to be like this beautiful, incredible whiskey that, people who knew about it knew about it.
Legendary.
And it was like, it was the thing next to like the Van Winkle line.
Yeah.
And then, of course, everybody found out about it and they bought it all up. And so now there is a Hirsch bourbon that's out there, but it's like 4 to 6 years old, I think, and about $40 a bottle. It's like, it's just a complete flip of what, that brand was way back when.
It makes you think, like, why not, like, almost, it's like retiring somebody's jersey. It's like this legendary bottle that, like, just people hold in huge regard. It's like, let it be. Like, just, retire that or something. Don't just try to use that name to push your younger $40 bourbon.
Yeah. Do you think that bourbon would be as successful right now, though, as it is without heritage name brands? I mean, Van Winkle's a heritage brand.
I think it would still be successful. I don't think it would be as well known. Yeah. Like, I feel like some of those names are just, they put bourbon out there. You see Van Winkle in like movies and TV shows and stuff like that. I think it still would be successful. I just don't think it would be. I don't know if it'd be as popular. As it is.
It to me begs the question: would the people who made these brands popular initially, the people who actually created these brands, like the way that their names have been treated today, and would they like the whiskey that is associated with their name?
Like what would Elmer say right now about a bottle of
the fact
Elmer?
That you just can't get it.
You can't get it, and it's.
Did I hit your foot?
No, my foot's over here.
Okay. I thought you had your foot resting on this chair too.
It's a long leg.
You know what they say about long legs?
Oh.
Long pants.
Big socks. No, that's feet.
No,
sorry.
Feet. But like I genuinely, and I think it's because it's sitting right in front of me. But like, what would Colonel Taylor thinking about Colonel Taylor Small Batch now?
He'd say buy the barrel proof.
But I mean, like,
I love you.
But it's like a true testament to what the man did.
Yeah.
Right. It's bottled in bond. I don't know why I had to trip over those words, but it's bottled in bond. So it's got this it's got the thing that he fought for attached to it, and it's just a test. It's a tribute to who he was.
And then it's kind of weird, like if you explain this to somebody that wasn't aware of brands and stuff, because isn't Colonel Taylor's like house or his distillery or something at Castle and Key or something like that? Like, how's that work? Like, but like Buffalo Trace doesn't even.
Well, Castle and Key was the old Taylor distillery,
right?
But I'm pretty sure that like Edmund Haynes Taylor, he has a house at Buffalo Trace.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
But there's like something like part of his stuff is at Castle and Key, which is now doing this stuff. But then his bourbon with his name on it is at Buffalo Trace. Like
this actually,
like if you explain that to somebody, they'd be like,
"What are you talking about?
What the hell?" Like,
where? Oh, okay. I didn't know this. Just regular Old Taylor is actually made by Buffalo Trace. I did not know that.
Oh.
I mean, I figured that probably was, but you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like not
like Old Taylor.
Small Batch.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, like Colonel, whatever. Doesn't matter. But yeah, I would just be curious, going back and asking these people what they really
What do you
think about it.
this? Sorry, dude, you got to get on Facebook and you got to find your bottle of bourbon, and it's $300.
What is a Facebook?
What's a Facebook? A secondary market?
Do you mean a yearbook?
You mean my bourbon's not on the shelf anymore?
What's a shelf? We didn't have shelves in the early 1900s.
He just handed it to
We had horses, and they stood with your bourbon on their backs. Man did not invent the shelf until the 1980s. And one more thing, it was completely black and white back then, too.
There was no color.
There was no color. That's always a funny thing that my dad said was annoying. It's like somebody asked him, what was it like when life was, in black and white before there was, how like TVs turned over to color channel. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, this is not like a super long conversation.
But it's something that makes you think.
Yeah, and it makes you think. But I do think it's something that people should be aware of and be conscious of because, again, the bourbon today just would not be what it is without heritage brands. Yeah. We wouldn't have people like Jimmy Russell, who's been at Wild Turkey for 65 years, still making really great bourbon. That just wouldn't be. It wouldn't be a part of the picture, and it would be a shame. But we wouldn't know life any other way, truthfully. So I think that as much as we love going and buying like some of these more special bottles, like it's still pretty crucial to buy and show support for heritage brands and speak up about it as well, because I think that they're kind of going by the wayside, but at the same time, I mean, Beam's still alive and kicking like no other.
I kind of like what Wild Turkey does with like Saffel and stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like Saffel was like before like Wild Turkey, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it helped start Wild Turkey and it turned into Wild Turkey, but then they went back and they made this special offering with the Saffel name on it. Yeah. And they didn't put Wild Turkey Saffel or something, they kept it kind of just
Wild Turkey's WB Saffel.
Yeah, it's just WB Saffel, and I like that. It's cool, and I love that bottle.
I mean, but like to be fair, Heaven Hill doesn't have Heaven Hill's T.W. Samuels.
True.
Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. I mean, it still says T.W. Samuels on it.
It amazes me the amount of little brands Heaven Hill has.
Bernie told me forever ago, but it's something ridiculous. Like, I think I'm lowballing it, but like 60.
I mean, they have like 200 bottled and bond screw tops.
Yeah. I can't find an exact number.
That's a lot.
It's quite a few, and I mean, it's not even counting just the the bourbon brands, but like everything else that they have as well. So, anyway, let us know. Do you think that do you think that heritage brands still matter? Do you think heaven matters?
Do you think heaven matters?
Let's get real deep here.
Is heaven a place?
Oh, baby, heaven is a place on earth.
Here we go. Here we go. But yeah, like, I don't know. I like traditional stuff. I want to think that everybody just gets along in the bourbon industry. But, I don't think that that's the case all the time.
Not all the time.
But we get along.
We do.
And all these bottles that we have open here get along.
I've got to clear it off this table.
I like this little spot. It's like my little fortress over here.
I still need to clean off the table, though.
I'm like Attack on Titan over here. I'm coming over the walls like, ah!
All right, let's do a review, why don't we?
Let's do it. So, we have American Light Whiskey from Penelope, aged 13 years. This was a sample sent to us from Penelope. And I just want to leave just a little bit because I want to try to pair it. But otherwise, from what I can tell, this is 134 proof.
Yeah.
Light whiskey from MGP.
Distilled at like what? What'd you say? Like 185 proof or something?
Yeah, I had to look it up.
It's insane.
Yeah. Let's see.
That's 97.5% alcohol, if that's the case.
189.5 proof, distilled from corn, and bottled at 134.
That's just
Wildness,
that's
right?
that's so much alcohol. 189.5.
Yep.
That's 94.75% alcohol that it was distilled at. That's worse than what's it?
Kings County?
No.
I don't know what
Everclear.
that was. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Sure. I don't know what the Kings County was distilled at. Oh, my Lord. That smells... that smells really good.
That smells fantastic.
It's like... Perry's doing something right now.
I'm trying to get some facts up before we get too far into this.
Oh, man. Dude, I love what Penelope's doing right now.
Yeah. Oh, they just debuted this too.
Yeah, it's pretty new.
So we're like one of the first people to actually...
Yeah, I've seen it on Instagram a lot, but that's it. I've not seen it in stores around here. I was...
Holy moly.
What?
The whiskey-making team of Penelope came across 31 barrels of the 13-year-old Seagram's juice aged in second-fill oak barrels, and they found the spirit, yada, yada, yada. They bottled the American light whiskey at cask strength, and it is priced at $80.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
That is a great price for this.
It was on sale box, and I think it immediately sold out. And I've yet to see it.
That's a shame.
We don't hardly get any Penelope around here. We just started getting some of the toasted stuff in barrel strength.
Yeah.
So thank you, Penelope, for sending this
yeah.
our way. Oh my gosh, it smells like marshmallows and cherries, and like a little bit of like
it's burning my nose hairs.
Man, I gotta get a bottle of this just based on the nose. I just smell it all day.
It's got a little like waxiness to it as well, like a candle wax.
Yeah, maybe like marshmallows and like cherry candle.
Yeah, and it is kind of an artificial note to it, but it's not unenjoyable.
No,
It's kind of like if a candle's being burned.
yeah, we've talked about this all the time. With some of these stuff that we smell, we could just put into a candle form and just smell it all day.
Golly. So I know we mentioned him last week, but Clifton just put out his 17th episode of Bourbon Bites podcast.
That's awesome. Check him out.
I didn't realize that it's been, long enough for it to be 17 episodes already. It's pretty awesome. Congrats, Clifton.
All right, I'm going in for it.
Tucked like way in the back of the nose is a little bit of like a mustiness as well. It kind of reminds me of like my grandparents' attic. A little bit of honeysuckle too. Sorry, I wasn't finished with the nose. I had to keep going with it. No. The proof is apparent, but it is not the most aggressive part of the palate.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. If it's 134 proof, my goodness.
I could go through a couple glasses of that without really thinking too much about it.
I think that honeysuckle you said really shows up more on the palate.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
it's not.
I agree.
It's not like straight honey.
No. No, it is honeysuckle.
Honeysuckle.
Yeah.
Don't think honey. It's honeysuckle. And I don't really get any of the marshmallow, but I do get almost this artificial cherry. It's like artificial cherry, honeysuckle, and then
Dude, it opens up so much. Oh my gosh.
Finish is just this.
It's savory.
Yeah, it's this finish that's not like just all heat, like you're just getting a big heat finish. It's like this just really relaxing, like enjoyable finish.
Yeah. No Kentucky Hug, which I was really expecting there to be with a 134 proofer. But like going back and smelling it, I'm starting to get like baking spices. Then like the savoriness starts to come through as well. Like I'm even getting like brisket on the nose. This is a very complex whiskey.
Yeah, this is not one that, unfortunately, I can just be like, well, smells like a zebra cake. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm a fan. I am a fan of this. $80 a bottle for
That's a
13-year-old
buy all
light
day.
whiskey. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Like, that's a 5
5 on price.
on price.
Heck yeah.
Like, I cannot argue with. I was expecting this to be like $125, $150, but $80
so
for this is phenomenal. Well done. I mean, they didn't distill it or anything, but
Well,
I mean, at
they
least
found it.
They found it, and I mean,
Good
This
hunting.
is a great, this is a great product for them to put out.
Yeah.
I'll still give them credit where credit's due.
Mike from Penelope, good job. Good hunting. Good everything on this.
All right, let's go ahead and give this our numeric review. It's nose, palate, finish, and price. Each category is out of 5. We tally it up for a total score out of 20. I already said the price was a 5. There's no way that I can argue with this. I'm going to give the nose a 4.
Okay.
It's so unique and so different, but it's inviting. Like, all of the little combinations of things. Like, it starts out a little
Like
sweeter.
opens the door to the house and just says, "Come on in,
Yeah,
Perry."
exactly.
Yeah.
But, like, it's, it starts so sweet, and the more it opens, it starts to get savory. And it just, like, the fact that it's going through this, like, roller coaster of different things is really, really exciting for me. So, 4 for me on the nose.
4.5 for me.
That's totally justified.
Yeah,
I
give it-
was struggling with whether or not I was going to go
I think
any
I went
higher.
just a little bit more because there was something about that, like that cherry, that just extra cherry that I started getting on the nose. That just was like,
Yeah.
I never would have thought.
That melted wax is starting to come back.
I mean,
Oh, man. That nose is killer.
I'm just going to go ahead and say that I'm going to work on getting another sample from somebody so we can finish this because this is too good.
You want to finish it right now?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I want to pair it, but I don't want a little quarter of an ounce to just
Yeah,
sit.
you need like a full.
I want a bottle.
I want a
of
bottle
this.
too.
So let's just finish this while we talk about it.
Yeah. Palate. I think I'm also going to give it a 4. It's very. I will say I really like light whiskey. I've not had a bad one yet. But I don't feel like they're all as complex as this.
Some of
is.
them are just straight heat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like this actually has range and depth to
Man,
it.
I keep going back to the nose, and it's just like you smell the age of it, but it's still just like this, like so sweet. It reminds me of E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof.
Kind of does, yeah.
Yeah, cherry, this like oaky cherry.
Yeah, I
and-
would have a hard time not saying that this was like a Buffalo Trace
Yeah,
product.
Palate for me, I'm going to go 4. I think if a little bit more, if it had like one more note that I could pick out on the palate, it would bump up a little bit. But I'm kind of stuck on that cherry honeysuckle thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, still though, it's 4. That's so good. The finish, I'll probably give the finish a 5.
Wow.
Mainly because it's one of the most soothing finishes.
Yeah, I
There's something just relaxing about it. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what's funny is like I wasn't going to bring this up, but you mentioned it, so I had to. But like, I've been congested today, and I could start to feel my throat getting coated, like
Yeah.
you would with like drinking
Yeah.
like a hot toddy or something.
Yeah, dude, it's just the most soothing. Like you get a little bit of the heat. There's no hug, like you said earlier, and it's just such a relaxing, just like
See, I like the hug.
comfort.
Yeah.
I don't have to have it every time, but I like it too.
I mean, I would anticipate. The thing is, I would anticipate it from
Right.
something this high of proof.
But I think it's just such a unique finish to me that I almost have to give it the props for being such a like. It's just this little comfy finish
Yeah.
that I just love.
I'm struggling with the finish on this one.
I can tell you're wanting that hug on there. You're wanting
I
wanting
am.
to feel the finish a little bit
But
more.
I
aren't you?
also like. I just don't know if I like the finish as much as you do, because I think it goes slightly astringent
okay.
on the back end, and it honestly kind of starts to feel a little bit like cough syrup.
Okay.
I'm going to give the finish a 3.
That's still good.
It's just, no, I mean, I still enjoy this for the most part, but there's like things that are having me like back off on it.
No, I get it.
In some ways, it's making me struggle with like wanting to go back for another sip because of the aftertaste. But at the same time, it's still a great whiskey. I mean, this is truly, truly a really good whiskey.
It's really good.
So overall, I gave it a 16.
I gave it
out of 20.
18.5.
So
it's
this is
above 15. Like
yeah.
I
mean, this is absolutely something that you should pick up. This would be great in like a blind tasting.
Oh my God, I think it would just like people. It would mess with people.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Much.
And B, it would be so much fun to just pull out and share something completely different with people.
God, I want a bottle of this.
Really I do
bad.
too. I really do too. But shall we do tips and bits?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Tips and bits.
What you want to recommend to folks?
Well, I'm going to save Star Wars talk for, I think, didn't we decide we may go back and just talk about the whole series?
Yeah, we'll wait. We'll wait until next week.
Keep watching Peacemaker. So good. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
You know I like it. There is a documentary I watched, me and the kids and April watched the other day that I have to recommend. And I normally don't do this because I'm going to be honest. I'm not a big documentary fan unless it's like horror, comic book, just something like that. But this is called The Rescue, and it's on Disney Plus, the National Geographic side of Disney Plus. So there was a soccer team in northern Thailand that they got stuck in these caves. Did you ever hear about that?
It just sounds like you're talking about Yellow Jackets again.
No,
but it's
no. This is a real story. This is not Yellow Jackets. Yes,
I do know this story.
Go watch Yellow Jackets. But so this soccer team, they're out having this get together and they go cave exploring.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden this storm comes and it floods and they get stuck in these caves. Like the water builds up to where they are stuck underground in these caves.
Yeah.
And this documentary shows how they got rescued. And it was fascinating and sad at the same time. But it was like it was all like just chance. Like this guy and his friends were these like cave divers. And they did it for fun.
Yeah.
But they did it all the time to where they just knew exactly what they were doing. And
right.
The one guy was like kind of dating this girl from Thailand, and he said goodbye to her and she went back, and then he got a message that was like, you need to watch this news story. And it started talking about these kids that got trapped under there.
Right.
So he decided to get his friends together, and they went to rescue these kids.
It's crazy.
And it's just an amazing story.
Yeah.
Like the government, or not the government, but like, I guess like the kind of like the Thailand, like National Guard and stuff, their version.
Sure.
Were trying to do it. They couldn't figure out how to get there and do all this stuff. So this group of just cave divers who did it for fun, banded together, made this whole plan, and they rescued these kids. One of the most amazing things was one of the divers was like an anesthesiologist, and he had to figure out a way, what medicine to give these kids so they would relax, so these divers could bring them out, because once they said there's no way that they could get them out if they start freaking out and moving around and all that. They couldn't stay still long enough. They sedated these kids while these men held them and swam them out of these caves.
It's one of the wildest stories I've ever heard.
That's what I said.
That's insane.
It's one of the wildest things you'll ever watch. And they did it. They succeeded. They are like freaking real life heroes.
Yeah, no kidding.
But I was just thinking, like, imagine putting a kid under and then handing it off to this guy, and you're just like, you're holding this kid hoping he doesn't wake up while you're swimming through these canals underground.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm telling you, I know most of my stuff is usually anime and like action and all this, but this was just, I sat there and I didn't hardly say a word. Kids were trying to ask me questions. I was just glued to the TV. I was like, this is insane. Such an amazing story.
It was called The Rescue?
The Rescue.
Awesome.
Disney Plus on the National Geographic tab of Disney Plus.
I'm definitely going to have to check that out.
Yeah. It's so good.
I just today discovered I was watching it when you got here. This YouTube channel called Great Art Explained, and I think that's what it's called. Let me check so that I have it right. Yeah, Great Art Explained. It's a YouTube channel, and it like the first video that I watched was about Edward Hopper's Nighthawks.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I was an art student. I was a graphic design student, and I never really did much learning about Nighthawks or really Edward Hopper at all.
Yeah.
Fascinating story. Was not very successful as a painter when he was alive. It was really not until he was older that he started to find success, and until after he died, really too. But like he was a huge cinema buff, and he used a lot of like staging from cinema to actually construct his paintings. Like that's where a lot of his like that short distance, that actually is like on stage and on sets and everything. That's how he built a lot of his art. But the one that I'm in the middle of right now is a deep dive on the Mona Lisa.
Okay.
Holy crap. Like they actually have been able to trace who the Mona Lisa was. Like the woman that it was actually totally based on.
So that was never anything that people knew.
No, not that I knew.
I didn't know either. I don't know enough, but I'm just saying. Like,
Yeah.
I would just assume that, like, oh, that's. But
like,
Mona.
there's
Mona over there.
Yeah, but there's enough history behind it that they are able to figure out who it was, and they're showing like that they did like X-rays of the painting, so you can see like his sketches underneath the actual
cool.
art. They're talking about the ways that he transferred the original work to like a separate page so that his students could recreate it as well. Those have survived better than the original Mona Lisa has, so you can see more of the detail of like what the original model looked like. So like now we look at her, she doesn't have eyelashes or eyebrows. The original did.
Oh, okay.
Very, very thin eyebrows. Yeah. But just, based on like the way that his students recreated his work is a better insight into what the painting looked like initially, as opposed to what you can see now at the Louvre. Okay. So fascinating. I don't normally I forgot how much I love art documentaries as it is, because I just enjoyed the heck out of them when I was in college, but it just reminded me how much I enjoyed being an art student as well. Because I'm not a very gifted like actual artist. I don't draw super well. I'm terrible at painting. I'm really quite good with sculpture. But I just learning about all that stuff is just fascinating to me. And so I think the next one that I'm gonna watch, and it was one of the recommended ones. By the way, this guy gets like millions of views on his videos, so he's legit. But they've got one about Starry Night, so I'm gonna be watching that next, more than likely. Also, Mr. Sunday Movies, who we've talked about before, from the Weekly Planet, he has a new Caravan of Garbage, which is there. It's basically just like a YouTube review series. They've got one out that everybody.
It's one of my favorite series.
Yeah, everybody needs to go watch this one on Batman Begins. It's like some of the best dissection of that movie.
I've found so many cool facts and just stuff I didn't know about movies just by listening and watching Caravan of Garbage. Yeah. And it's not, and you think Caravan of Garbage. Yeah. They're not saying everything's garbage. They really just go into details on one like show or movie or something like that.
Yeah. So, Mr. Sunday Movies is just one of my favorite
he's awesome.
Content creators in general. But I think that about wraps it up.
Man, I want a bottle of that stuff.
I do too. It's been this felt like a very classic Timbip episode.
Yeah.
I felt like. So we'll have to kind of keep this energy up. And
Yeah, I didn't say as much.
twice. You said it twice, and now I have to beep it out twice.
No. What are you going to use this time?
What am I going to use this time? Oh. I don't know. I'll figure it out. You'll know.
Hello! Whoa!
Stop. Anyway, thank you all so much for listening this week. This has been a great episode. Eric, take us home. Tell them about all the places they can find us and the things that they can do to support us.
They can do all that stuff by going to Patreon if you want to support us. It's Patreon.com/MyBourbonPodcast. You can join for as little as $1 a month, and at $5 you get all the extra stuff. We got Pours from the Floor, the finale coming out. Going to take a little break from that, and then we're going to clean up Perry's studio, and maybe you'll hear your sample on there. Anyway. Finally, yes. But seriously, the show needs support. It's got bills to pay, and you can help us out by becoming a member of the Patreon. If you want to send an email or ask a question, or maybe you want to send a sample or a bottle to review, send an email to thisismybourbonshop@gmail.com. We got some merch at bourbonshop.threadless.com. If you want some Whiskey Mutant merch, it's whiskeymutant.myshopify.com. If you want to leave a barrel rings, which is our voicemail, we'll listen to it and we'll talk to you on air. Not in real time because it's a voicemail. But just call 859-428-8253. And then on all the social media, it's My Bourbon Pod. You got Twitter, you got Instagram, you got Facebook, which we have a Facebook group. You join that, answer some questions. You can ask pregame chat questions, you can post memes, or you can just see what's going on in the group. Also, go to YouTube. This is My Bourbon Podcast. Perry goes live every Thursday at 8. I join him about once a month. We're blinds, we play games, whatever else we can find to do on YouTube. And you can search Whiskey Mutant on YouTube. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff as well. And if you want to leave a review on whatever podcast app you use, especially now that Spotify does it, you can. Just leave a 5-star review.
Yeah, thank you to everybody who's been leaving ratings for the podcast on Spotify. We're up to 13 5-star ratings.
Yeah,
so
let's get some more on Spotify there.
Looking pretty good so far.
Or leave it on Apple. Whichever it is, we'll read it out.
Yeah, I don't think we have a new one this week. Let me check and make sure real quick. What? Yeah, no new reviews this week. But if
you want to, do it. Either way.
It helps.
Yes. Or just send us a message. You can DM us.
Yeah.
Jump in our DMs.
Say hi.
Yeah.
We won't read those out on
it depends on what you say.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you may get blasted, or you may just,
if it's saucy enough, we'll talk about it. But next week, I'm really excited to be welcoming Wrestling's own Matt Ruwalt to the show,
aka Aiden English.
Yes, very, very excited, aka Wrestling with Whiskey or Drama King Matt.
Yeah,
whatever you want.
He's on Twitch. He's on YouTube. All over the place. Yeah. Check him out.
I'm really, really pumped to have Matt on the show. He's one of those people that we've just kind of been trying to have on the podcast for a long time, and we're going to talk a lot about bourbon. We're going to talk a little bit about some wrestling, and I'm psyched. I'm psyched.
Yeah. And if you're on Patreon, you may get to hear him on the pregame chats.
Good chance of it.
You can ask him a question.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you all so much for listening. As always, take care. Have a great week. Until later, I'm Perry.
I'm Eric.
And this is My Bourbon Podcast.